Happy Tuesday and happy holidays to you all. A very warm welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Gloria Mutesi. As Rwanda prepares for local government elections early next year, President Paul Kagame commends the leaders who have completed their terms, but urges them to continue giving their contribution. As Innocent Mugabo tells us, it's a policy that has brought about significant change by reducing the gap between the administration and its subordinates.
About 20 years ago, Rwanda embarked on a journey of decentralization and empowerment in order to promote governance that puts people at the forefront. It is a policy that has brought about significant change because it has reduced the gap between the administration and its subordinates and has made various services more accessible to the people, as some of them affirm. We had the old version that had prefecture and all that. We had to go to the commune to get the services. Today we get them right next door at the village level. Before we'd go a long way to even get our IDs. That would mean the commune. If you were lucky, you would get them. Otherwise, you would look for the secretary and all. Today we go straight to the sector offices and to the ID offices. It would even take care before we got the concierge. Habitejeko Francois, the mayor of the Northern District, says that in the last 10 years, there has been a lot of improvement, especially in the capacity building of local authorities. The first thing is that we have a vision, and through the leadership of the president, we are even given the advice and urged to do our best. We give our best efforts. When we started, we sat down and discussed this and took into consideration the voices of the people. And this has helped us to better with training and support. The 5-year term of local leaders elected in February 2016 is coming to an end. The Minister of Local Government, Professor Shaka Anastas, says that the election of new leaders is scheduled in the first 3 months of next year. However, he urges everyone to protect themselves against COVID-19 to make it easier for the elections to take place. Local elections are scheduled for the end of February through the beginning of March as expected. What struck me was the negligence over COVID-19 that might affect us and we might not go to the polls. But I know all Rwandans want the best for us all and for our country and its governance to continue to run smoothly. This election is important and for that new energy, but that principle of governance and the election of leaders is also important. Let's prepare it and protect each other from COVID-19. Local authorities have been being praised for their role in building a new Rwanda, where the people must be at the forefront of everything. During the State of the Nation address, President Paul Kagame thanked the local authorities for their good work and urged them to continue to make their contribution to the country. I want to thank our local leaders who are ending their time. We are grateful for your contribution and we urge you to continue to do the same during these difficult times and for you to stay strong. What does not go right, we can correct. And what we do right, we promote, and I hope this culture can grow. The head of state speech was welcomed by local officials and said it has boosted their performance.
Now, local makers have asked that employers that do not provide retirement benefits for workers should be forced to do so. This comes at a time when some people that retired have not received their pension, which has left them in dire poverty. Sindai Gaya Jean-Pierre, a resident of Gasabo district, says he worked for one of Rwanda's private construction companies. He worked 2 years with an assumption that his pension was being paid because his salary was being deducted for pensioners scheme. Later in 2016, he had an accident that forced him into early retirement. But to his shock, he found that he didn't have a retirement package, despite his years of service and contribution. I had an accident without insurance and I was using my Mituwell, but it became a challenge when I had to have brain surgery. When I told them, that's when they started to process for me RSSB papers, and they stopped all the support they were giving me. I went to the authorities and I found they had registered me at a later time and even my pension wasn't saved. I went to the intermediate court and I won, but they still didn't give me what the court ordered them to, and they appealed to the high court and I still won. and they were ordered to pay me 7,637,600 Rwanda francs. The case of Sindai Gaya Jean-Pierre is no different from some people who have worked in the private sector. They say their employees would deduct pensioners' contribution, and later when they went to RSSB to inquire how much they had, they only found that there was no money recorded against their name. I was paid 400,000 per month, and they would deduct employee pension contribution, but when I went to RSSB, I didn't find any money. Nachimana Francois, the executive secretary of one of the trade unions, says they continue to receive a number of complaints from workers who have not received their pension benefits. The number of complaints we have received this year are more than 150. We've written to the RSSB expressing these for them to follow them up, and at district level they are busy, which makes it hard for them to follow up these issues, and this becomes a hindrance to the pension law and the general labor law. Employers that have been accused of failing to pay employee pension contribution and have refused to appear on camera, citing that RSSB has the answers. The Parliament has pointed out that RSSB should be empowered to hold accountable employers who do not pay employee pension contributions. For those in the private sector, employers deduct pension contribution, but instead of depositing it, they channel it and invest it in other things, and this money doesn't get to its destination. When someone dies, it becomes a challenge when there's no pension benefits. When an employer deducts money from employees and they don't deposit it with RSSB, this is a mistake they are making, and that's why we're saying RSSB should make them pay by force. According to RSSB, only 8% of Rwanda's workforce pay their pension contributions. However, the government put in place Ejo Heza to attract a big pool of savings and allow every citizen to access pension benefits, even for people working in the informal sector. Economic experts have warned people against reckless spending during the festive season. This is after the global economy has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to cause strain on some countries across the world. Ethan Tashobia has more.
In different parts of the capital, Kigali, there is an evident shopping frenzy. Shoppers are stocking up for the festive holidays. The same people acknowledge that COVID-19 pandemic has had adverse effects on their income, among other sectors, which is likely to affect the way they will celebrate festive season. Usually it is time to celebrate with family and friends and share Christmas, but this time it's not possible because of COVID-19, and we know very well the impacts. Social events are prohibited, and for that reason I will celebrate with my immediate family, and that is what most people will do. But that should not stop us from adhering to COVID-19 guidelines. On the other hand, traders say Christmas shopping has seen a significant drop compared to previous years, blaming it on the financial constraints brought about by COVID-19. There has been a significant drop in clientele compared to previous holidays. We have tried to reduce prices to attract as many buyers as possible. We are ready for the Christmas shopping, but we don't expect to get a lot of money as it has been in previous years. People will be celebrating in their homes, and those are the people we are targeting. We'll be doing home deliveries for foods and drinks. Vitamahoro Kaliste, an economic expert, warns people against reckless spending during festive holidays, but instead save up for future uncertainties. Such unusual circumstances call for people to be extra careful in their spending and to forego short-term pleasures, but instead save up for the future basic needs. COVID-19 pandemic has had adverse effects on different sectors of life, and the economy is one that continues to be hit hard by the impact of the virus. Experts are urging people to cultivate the culture of saving to avoid financial restraints caused by the effects of COVID-19. Reporting for RwandaTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
In some parts of Kigali, residents are complaining about going days with no running water. On the other hand, the Water and Sanitation Corporation WASAC says there are new projects being put in place to solve the issue, of which among them is to work with other water companies to increase the supply and renovating old water pipelines. Jane Mutoni now reports.
Local residents in Usanza, Kanombe, Nyarugunga, Kimirongo and other districts say they've been facing shortage of clean water, while others go months with no running water. On one hand, some of them say it is no longer the case. For the last 4 years, people used to go to fetch water from the swamps, but now there's been an improvement from WASAC. Lately, we've been supplied with enough water for a month now. Other people have completely lost hope for getting running water and resorted to buying it from those with tanks at a high price. Sometimes we spend 3 months without water. Like now, I've moved to 3 places in search for water, but I couldn't get it. Sometimes when water comes, some use the chance to store it in tanks so that they can sell it at a high price, depending on the number of people in demand. In some places, they charge 100 Rwandan francs, and others it's 50. Until now, we've been waiting for water to be supplied to us as promised. We hope for advocacy concerning this issue, even if we had water once in a week. Kanzenza Water Distribution Company will be working with WASAC to increase the supplies in some parts of Kigali. Their tanks shall be storing enough water to be distributed. The rest of other tanks are close to completion. This company is ready to provide 40,000 cubic meters per day, of which 30,000 cubic meters shall be distributed in Kigali and 10,000 cubic meters in Bugesera district, Karumona. On the follow-up of implementation of trapping water from a swamp near Akagera River and processing it, Kanzenza Water Industry says that water pipelines that will channel the water are almost done, and in a month's time, water will start being distributed as planned. Water and Sanity Corporation say that though there is still an issue of scarcity of water in some parts of Kigali, there is need for water infrastructure as well. They say projects are being put in place to solve this issue. There's still more to be done. As of today, our companies distribute between 90,000 cubic meters and 95,000 cubic meters per day. But our goal is to supply about 143,000 cubic meters per day, meaning it's only a difference of 48,000 cubic meters. We shall achieve this by working with Kanzenza factory, which shall supply 30,000 cubic meters in Kigali. We also have other projects of renovating water pipelines. Among the factories that have been supplying water in Kigali, including Nzove, which supplies 20,000 cubic meters per day. Other 2 factories supply 80,000 cubic meters per day. Kimisagara factory that gets water from Nyanza River supplies 20,000 cubic meters, while Karenje factory supplies 15,000 cubic meters. Jane Mutoni reporting for RTV.
Out of the 2.8 million households that were supposed to be placed under the new Ubudehe categories, only 60% of them have been registered. Those that missed out on the reclassification of Ubudehe categories are not sure of how they will get this chance again because they cannot meet in one place due to the COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
Some of the people who claim to have missed out on the new Ubudehe categorization exercise say it was because they weren't around at the time, among other various issues. I had gone to visit a sick person at the hospital, and when I came back, I asked the head of a small group in a village known as Isiwo if we can be categorized, but he told us to go to the village office to be reclassified, though until now, I haven't been reclassified on Ubudehe categories. Village leaders say they are waiting for decisions that will be made by respective local government entities in charge of Ubudehe categories in regards to those that missed out. All of our locals have been categorized, and we are only remained with 6 locals in one village who missed out. We could have categorized them last Tuesday, but the new COVID-19 guidelines prohibit social gatherings. The Director General of Local Administrative Entities Development Agency, Nyinawagaga Claudine, says that 2.8 million households that were supposed to be placed under new Ubudehe categories, only 60% of them have been registered. During that period, we had already finished registering 55% to 60% households. We won't leave behind those that missed out. Our wish is to make sure we know the well-being of each household. Sometimes we combine a few households in one place while respecting social distancing so that they can put together all necessary information that will help in categorizing them under ubudehe.
noneho zigakora igikwiye haba gukusanya amakuru haba no kwishyira mu byiciro by'ubudehe.
The Director General of LODA, Nyinawagaga Claudine, partly blames both the leaders and the locals who are offering or receiving corruption during this process.
Twumvise ikintu cyabaye i Muhanga aho abaturage bahaye ruswa.
We heard of an incident where some locals were bribing a local official so that he or she may reclassify their ubudehe category. We also heard of another incident in Gatsibo district where a local official was also bribed by the locals in order to reclassify them. This shows that though some locals may become victims of this, they are also partly to blame for giving false information. Some locals don't understand how this works, hence thinking a certain category will limit the support from the government, especially when it comes to insurance, known as Mituel de Santé, or being included in Girinka program, and also avoiding to pay their own school fees. All these are issues we still face. According to the available statistics, between 2.8 million and 3 million families are expected to be reclassified in the new ubudehe categorization. The exercise is expected to end in February 2021. Jane Mutoni reporting for RTV.
Thank you, Jane Mutoni, for that story. Now, in Nyamagabe district, houses were recently built for the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. Beneficiaries expressed gratitude because of the positive change it has brought to their well-being, saying the houses have lessened their worries of living in poor conditions. Umwari Jed reports.
Each housing unit contains 2 rooms, a living room, a kitchen, and 2 bathrooms. Kavatasi Mariette is one of the occupants, giving us a tour of her home and showing us some of the equipment they were given. Occupants say that their lives have changed significantly. In their previous homes, they lived in constant fear that the home would collapse. Now, they're grateful to live peacefully knowing that they are safe. The homes are very nice. It's extremely convenient because they're self-contained. Water, the bathroom, and the kitchen. It is especially helpful for the elderly. Now we live very well. The house is connected to electricity with just a switch on the wall.
We
live in a better environment compared to the mud houses that we previously resided in. Our lives are much better. Beneficiaries say that although these houses are beautiful and well maintained, there are obstacles that they have begun to face. Due to poor ventilation, smoke amasses in the house. They say that water is scarce in the reservoirs built in the village. They request that these issues be addressed in order to accelerate development. We would like if some of the problems we are facing could be addressed. It would lead to a much better life.
Some of the
challenges we are facing involve the ventilation facilities. The ventilation system is not functioning as it should. Mayor of Nyamagabe district, Uwamahoro Bonaventure, reassures the people that the construction problem in the village will be resolved soon. We will continue to help them repair the houses. The ventilation system and leaks in the home are our main concern. We will also aid in preventing erosion by planting trees in the compound. This may help the residents to keep livestock as well. Owinyana Housing Estate is home to 40 families. In Nyamagabe district, there are currently about 2,000 families living in high-risk zone that urgently need housing. The district administration says that by 2024, all the families living in the area will be well off. Umngari Jade reporting for RTV News.
Rwanda's representative in the CAF Confederation Cup will host Uganda's KCC AFC in the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup. group qualifiers at the Kigali Regional Stadium. Kigali eliminated Botswana's Orapa United in the two-legged preliminary round to book a tie with KCC AFC, which will start at 3 p.m. local time. The game will be live here on RTV. In other sports news, the private sector in Rubavu district says the Sekafa's Under-17 tournament that was held in the area is a source of confidence that they will host other major African tournaments. This tournament is a reflection of football on the continent, and in particular the East African region and the world at large, according to Sekafa's leader. It is while the Rubavu district administration says that the upcoming games in the region have increased the willingness for young people to join the game, even though this time they weren't able to watch it live at the stadium. The tournament ended on Tuesday with Uganda winning the trophy after beating Tanzania 3-1, while the hosts Rwanda was eliminated in the group stages. And on behalf of the entire news production team, thank you for your company tonight. Happy holidays to you and your loved ones, but please enjoy responsibly and stay safe. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi.